Hey there. So I wanted to talk about what happens when your guru or your icon or your idol is wrong. What happens? I see a lot of people concerned about either certain influencers or certain politicians sort of gaining traction these days. What happens if what they're saying is wrong? A lot of people want to control this by saying, oh, no, don't listen to them because what they're saying is wrong. Oh, don't listen to them because what they're saying is wrong. And I totally understand that, and I've been in that boat myself. And I'm definitely not saying that you shouldn't speak out and call people out, because that is very important. You should encourage and audit people, what they say. Encourage people to tell the truth and call out inconsistencies and all of that. But, well, I guess really what I'm talking about when I say guru is, since I'm more familiar with like the personality community and the self-help community, I see this in astrology communities as well. What happens is that someone asserts themselves with authority and they're saying, hey, look at me. I have the answers for you. I see you have a problem and I have the answers for you. And people see that and they cling on to that because they want somebody to take care of them. They want somebody to make the decisions for them, to have the answers for them. They don't want to do the thinking to come up with their own answers. So whenever somebody asserts themselves as an authority and makes whatever their problem is sound really easy, or suggests that they will solve the problem for you, then of course people are going to jump onto that. Everybody's been at a time where they wish that somebody could just come along and take their problem away. So when that is what somebody is leading with, that's their main value proposition, people are going to jump onto that. But what I've seen happen time and time again here in our very own personality community, as well as the larger self-help community, where we have these gurus show up, if they're wrong, I guess if somebody says something that is wrong, you don't have to worry, because their advice just won't work for people. And that will be very, very obvious. Does the advice work or does it not? Because what happens is, if you're saying something as good advice and people like the way you're saying it because you're saying it with authority and confidence, but then their view of you is going to eventually die down once what you're saying doesn't actually work for that person. And those same people that are so quick to idolize those in the community who want to be like, I'm an authority, everything you think, everything I say is true, case closed. They want to come at you with that sort of energy and make you feel like your problem is easy to solve and that they've got it. A lot of people will idealize that person. They will put them on a pedestal. And then when what they're doing isn't actually true and isn't actually connected to what real people need and what real people feel and what real people's problems are, what happens is then those people that put their trust, maybe even money, in that person who claimed to solve their problem, they're going to get angry. And then you've created an angry mob. Like, I've seen this happen so many times where people just blatantly contradict themselves, or their following turns against them because they were not having an actual communication, back and forth communication with their following. They were putting themselves on a pedestal and saying, I know the answers, you should trust me. And then it inevitably backfires every single time that their advice doesn't actually work. And the only way to give advice that actually works is from actually knowing your audience and actually talking to your audience. You cannot be right with your if you put yourself on a higher pedestal, people are going to knock you off. And it's not a good strategy. You might think that you're being effective or efficient to separate yourself from the audience, put yourself on your little high horse and use confidence as a tactic, pretty much a manipulation tactic. I mean, I don't want to be too super strong here, but I mean, people will use confidence as a tactic to make their word sound like the end all be all. I guess I'm just here to say that for those of you who see this behavior and you're stressed out by it, you feel like it's your duty to sort of stop them or whatever, I just want you to know and be comforted by the fact that they will inevitably fail when their advice doesn't actually work for the people. And if people are seeking something, like that hole in their heart won't be filled by some person saying that they can fix it. So I would say, when you're going out there in the world, just living your life, be wary of people who claim that your problem is easy, for one, and two, that they know the answer and that they are the only ones who can solve your problem. We see this in politics all the time, and it's pretty much using fear to get somebody to kiss your ass. It's not helping. It's not inspirational. It honestly is just sleazy and gross and arrogant, and I can't stand behind it. And if you view that as what authority looks like, and if we follow those types of authorities, then our entire society as we know it is going to crumble, because a good leader knows where their audience is coming from, communicates with them directly, puts themselves on the same playing field in the sense that they will meet them where they're at and is willing to meet them where they're at, and gives better advice. Advice that works. Advice that changes their audience's life. You know? And I guess I'm just saying, at the end of the day, if the advice works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. And that I don't want anyone to feel like they have to go correcting people whenever. This happens all the time, where there is just dissonance in communities. Like, there's dissonance in the personality community, there's dissonance in the astrology community, there's dissonance in the political communities, where there are different influencers and different leaders saying things. And they're saying that what they're saying is right, and they're giving advice. They're saying, this is what I think is best. I'm just saying that at the end of the day, their advice is either going to work or it's not. And their attitude and how they're approaching it is a very big clue as to whether or not what they're actually saying is correct. And if you don't believe me, if you don't want to use that rule as a shortcut, then just see for yourself, see how it plays out. You know, I'm always sharing what I've learned, because I don't want people to have to learn the hard way. You either are going to learn the hard way or not the hard way, which the hard way means experience, by falling flat on your face. Everybody needs to fall flat on their face and be wrong in order to truly know some things. But when we seek advice and we seek self-help and all that sort of stuff, it can lessen the burn a little bit of how it feels to just fall flat on your face from being wrong. But anyway, that's a dynamic I've realized about what happens when people either overly trust gurus, and also what happens when your guru is wrong, because sometimes they're wrong. And when you're wrong about the advice or the solution to what you're trying to solve, your audience will tell you, because they are not going to be happy with you. And so I would just say, for anyone out there who's maybe looking to start a YouTube channel or anything like that, or give advice, or I don't know, I just would say that don't, humble yourself, and don't assume that you have all the answers, and also don't assume that what you're talking about is easy. Because when you make the solution sound easy, you're talking down and condescending your audience, and pretty much making it seem like you think that their problem is easy, and as though they're stupid for not being able to figure it out themselves. Like, nobody wants to feel that way, and only very, very insecure people are going to only very insecure people are going to be motivated and influenced by that to the point where they're like, oh my gosh, you're right. You do have my problem. My problem actually is super easy, and I'm stupid for not being able to figure it out. But you, who knows nothing about me or my problem, somehow knows the answer. Like, that's just a huge red flag. So be careful out there when you're figuring out who to listen to, who to trust. There's a lot of noise out there on the internet right now, and I believe that you can figure it out. I'm not even saying you should listen to me. If you disagree with me, I'd love to see your comments below. If you do agree with me at any points, like, let's just start a conversation below. Thank you for watching, and have a wonderful rest of your day.